Hey, how's it going? My name is Jane. I'm a flying instructor, charter pilot, skydiving jump pilot, and now an aeromedical pilot in Australia. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. If you haven't seen my last video about the Sydney trip, go watch it. I'm now a current qualified flying instructor again. Yay! Anyways, back to the title of the video. Today, I want to talk about the ugly truth of the general aviation. It's a topic that I have been thinking about for quite some time throughout the years. First of all, to introduce myself, I have been working professionally since 2016. I started learning flying in 2014. So I would say I have 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I have 8 years of working experience in the general aviation industry. And I have seen many old school way of thinking. It's so backwards in the general aviation. It feels like we are all living in the 80s with most employer and their way of thinking. It's really sad that employers can treat new pilots so poorly, expect them to work without pay, or expect them to do all the stuff that is outside of their job description, like cleaning the hangar or washing the plane without pay, just because you need to show your passion and persistence for the job and flying is just such a nonsense excuse. It's very upsetting to see employers use new pilot like that. And it's such a common thing to do because fresh pilots are desperate. I completely understand that. I have been there. It's just unfortunate. I'm sure there will be similar stories in every industry. Now, I would like to speed up for those who doesn't have the courage to speed up because they are worried about what other people will think or what their future employer will think as well. In my point of view, it's important that to speed up about those huge issues that last for decades so far already. It's just not acceptable to make pilot work overtime without any compensation. I want to use my platform to spread the concerns, and hopefully the general public will also know about this situation in general aviation as well. So more people will be aware of that, and hopefully one day change will come. The number one main issue with general aviation is working overtime. Unfortunately, with the pilot award, I would say a shitty award. It is not well written. There's no mention of overtime anywhere in the award. That's why the employer can use the loophole thinking that there's no mention of overtime, so we can just slave all the pilot to work 100 hours a fortnight while just paying them the normal salary, which is 76 hours. In the award, there's only one line mentioning about ordinary hour work must not average more than 38 hours per week, and that's all. No mention about overtime and what the penalty is. In Australia, overtime is such a major thing in any other industry. They're very careful about it with all the regulation and rules written in their own industry award. For example, if you work in Christmas Day, you possibly will have double or even triple the pay. We don't as a pilot. Or you get called in for work on your day off, surely you will get compensated for that. We do have that in the pilot award, but it is written in such a way that it's so hard to understand. Then the employer will have different interpretation of what that means. Or if people doing overtime, meaning that more than 38 hours of work every week, let's say you work 50 hours a week, you will get compensated for that extra 12 hours. We don't as a pilot. No one will say anything because it has become such a norm that people just accept it. They're upset about it, but they just think that I'm just an individual. I can't do anything about it to change anything. So I would just suck it up, get my hours up, and find a better job and get out of there. That is the mindset of most of the pilots. The second main issue is the argument about what is work. It's so funny if you are like a nurse or an accountant, work for you will be the moment you step into the work environment, like the hospital or the office. When it comes to a pilot, we have duty time, flying time, and standby time. Technically, all this should count as work hours. That is payable. However, that is not the case at the moment. There's still ongoing court case to determine if standby time count as duty that is payable. For example, if the company asks you to stand by at home for 5 days a week, 12 hours each day, that will be 60 hours of standby. You might get called anytime and be ready within 2 hours. You could technically go out for a coffee or have a meal, but you can never have a definite plan with your friends or family. You can't go out for activities like fishing or hiking that require longer return time. If you think about this way, you are limited to live your life because of the standby. Also, imagine that you only get paid for 38 hours when you are on standby for 60 hours. The pilot award makes it unclear, so employers would just take advantage of that. Employers don't see pilots sitting on the ground as work, even though they are looking at weather or doing flight plan. They only see flying hours at work because they just can't get away with that. One of the common examples will be a pilot flying the client to a destination for an hour, wait there on the ground for 8 hours, then fly back for an hour. The flying hours is only 2 hours, but the duty is at least 10 hours or more, with pre-flight and post-flight for the pilot to do. The pilot can do this type of flying task 5 days a week. That will be 10 hours of flying, but at least 50 hours of duty time. Most employers don't compensate for those extra work hours. Employers will always have the excuse saying that they didn't break the CASA flight and duty time, which is true. The limit is 100 hours duty time per fortnight. However, what they don't understand is CASA regulate safety and fatigue, and the Fair Work Act and the pilot award are for the monetary entitlement. Making a pilot work for 100 hours every fortnight is legal for CASA regulations, but not legal if they are only paid for 76 hours. Anyways, I could go on and on about these issues and give you all the real-life examples that I see with my friends in the industry. I hope one day the change will come and the general aviation will become a better work environment. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.